Hey, what's up? It's your man, Greg Merriweather. Welcome to the Unmitigated Truth. Man, it's Monday. It's good to be back. There is a lot to talk about. A lot's been going on right now. We're dealing with a lot in the Middle East. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a lot of new stuff. Of course, we are moving into a national platform. A lot of times we have talked about a lot of local stuff, but I'm going to say this as well. I'm going to figure out how to incorporate a little bit of the local chat in this as well. So I am excited about what we're doing here at the Unmitigated Truth. Shout out to everybody, all the followers, all the truth builders. That's what we're going to start calling each other. We're going to be the truth builders. So I'm just excited to be here, spend some time with the truth builders. We're going to have a great show, a great time. So let's get started with the Unmitigated Truth. Hey, what's up? It's 12 o'clock. We are here at the Unmitigated Truth. I'm your host, Greg Merriweather. Man, I'm excited about today because we are embarking on some new territory. I'm excited about taking this show and making it focus more on a lot of national news. For the past, for however long, we have talked a lot about local news, just a lot of stuff that, I felt was good. Hey, what's up, Kim Boyd? I see the eyes. What's up to my sister? What's up to everybody at the Indy Star? So I'm just looking forward to this because I think that a lot of times we talk about a lot of stuff, but I don't think we hit a lot of the national news the way in which I believe we should hit the national news. So let's get going. So today America is at a breaking point. What every citizen needs to know is basically what we're focused on today. And so to the truth builders, of course, I'm Greg Merriweather, and welcome to today's live edition of Unmitigated Truth. America is at a breaking point. I really want us to think about this. From foreign conflicts to rising energy costs, from politics to inflation, these are focuses that touch every single household. I know a lot of us have been talking about AES, things of that nature, but man, it's a lot, when it's all said and done, I don't want this to be the typical, because I know that typically we look at the news, they give us what's happening, but they never tell us what to do when it's happening or what to look for when it's happening. So I'm taking this approach to where if I give even local news, I want to be the person that says, this is how it impacts you. This is how it's going to impact your pocket. This is how it's going to impact your community, what it's going to look like overall. So our number one story today, Iran and the escalating crisis in the Middle East. This is not just a headline. This is global. It's economic. It's political, and it's already affecting you. So late in February, the U.S. and Israeli-aligned forces conducted strikes on Iranian military targets. Iran retaliated with missiles and drones targeting U.S.-aligned bases across the Gulf. And now reports confirm planes have been shot down over Kuwait, an alarming escalation beyond Iran borders, affecting the regional air traffic and adding serious tension. So when I look at this, I'm like, man, so now we've got all this stuff going on. I know a lot of people are upset. We're hearing that Congress is not involved. I want to kind of go backwards really quickly because I want to think about the State of the Union. And this is something that I was going to talk about, but I really didn't touch on the State of the Union. I want you all to think about when you're in your place of employment and things aren't right, but you still do whatever you feel is necessary to keep your job. As I watch the State of the Union, I watch one group of people who sat down pretty much no matter what was said, until they got to where the president spoke about insider trading. Then there was loud cheers. But prior to that, everything that was said, from us having a thriving economy to where gas is cheaper than it's ever been. And we found out, through research that only 4 gas stations probably had those prices. Where inflation was at a different place. Said that the highest inflation we had ever had came through Joe Biden. Just talked about a lot of different stuff. But you found out through research that a lot of that stuff was embellished or just a flat out lie. Okay. But what I saw was the people who stood up. And when I say stood up, not the people who stood against, I mean the people who actually stood up and clapped their hands as they listened to things that were not true. And when I thought about that, I'm like, there's no way we're getting what we need from public officials or elected officials. Because if I elect if I elect a person who does not uphold minimum truth, minimum. If we elect people who do not uphold the minimum of truth, then what are we doing? What are we doing in this country? And what we have found out is that there are a lot of people who would rather live on a lie than stand on the truth. And I think that that's such a huge problem that we deal with every day, not just in not just in politics. This is something that we deal with every day in people. As a person who has a show that's called The Unmitigated Truth, let me tell you, it is not the easiest thing to walk in truth every day because there is a consequence. There's a humongous consequence for being someone who says, man, this is what we said we're going to do. So let's go ahead and do it. It may not feel good today, but that's what we're going to do. And then to have the impact, and then for it to impact the general public makes it even crazier to me, because we've got people who know that their decisions are impacting the general public, but still will do absolutely nothing to right that wrong. So now we look. We've got all this military stuff going on. Okay. We had planes shot down, and this is crazy. We had planes shot down in friendly fire in Kuwait. So here's what I will tell you: don't get friends from Kuwait who can't shoot. This is a bad situation because I believe that was in friendly fire that those jets were taken down, and so that's whole nother subject. So anyway, this is not symbolic. This is deadly. This is real, and this is escalating fast. Okay, so when we think about this, the strategic significance. So we got to think about the Strait of Hormuz is a global checkpoint. 20%, hear me out, 20% of the world's oil passes through there. 20% of the world's oil passes through there. Any disruption or even threat sends energy prices and markets into turmoil. So markets move on risks, and the risk is currently real. So when I think about this and I look and see, even with the president bragging about, he talked about Venezuela during the State of the Union. And he talked about Venezuela as if we actually partnered with Venezuela to get the oil that he was bragging about getting, which I thought was astronomically wild. I thought it was astronomically wild to hear someone boast and say, I kidnapped the leader and his wife. Keep in mind, I at least let him keep his wife with him. So I kidnapped the leader and his wife, brought him over here, and then I just totally went to Venezuela and took all this stuff. We're going to bum rush the show. We're going to take the man. We're going to at least let him have his wife with him. And we're going to bring him to America. We're going to place him on some charges. Nobody is saying a word. And we're realizing just how rogue this operation is. This presidential operation is something so rogue that I don't even understand it. It's Hitler-esque. Let's be real. It's like this is matching Gestapo efforts. This is something that we've not in my lifetime. Not in my lifetime. I've not seen anything like this. So when I look, I'm like, man, this is pretty gangster. This is some stuff that we're going to look back in history and we're going to be writing about this stuff in the near and dear future. And I'm going to tell you something. This is just what I believe. Bannon, Steve Bannon, Steve Bannon, said something that has resonated with me as I continue to watch this process. Possibly, and this is why this is important. It's important for you all to go vote in your primaries, one. And then you got to vote in your general elections, too. But it's very important for us to have some voting going on right now. Here's what we got to look at. I do believe that once it's time for this administration to go, I personally believe that a lot of people are going to prison. I believe a lot of rules and laws have been broken, and I believe a lot of people are going to end up in prison. Not necessarily the president, but I do believe that all these people that are working under him and in his administration, I do believe that they will end up being prosecuted. I do. The war crimes alone, we got to think about Germany. The war crimes alone is crazy. They're crazy. It's like we are looking, and again, we're looking at stuff like ICE. We're looking at people who are truly American citizens. We are looking at people who may have visas or documentation who are being harassed simply on color. I mean, we know it full well, but these people don't know this. You're looking at people being killed by a rogue police, a rogue group of what we call police. We've seen people shot, people killed, people kidnapped. And I just think that, man, I don't even think we've reached the tip of this, but I think that when it's all said and done, and by the time this administration is going away, a lot of people are going to go to prison. Here's the other thing, before we get back to Iran, that I want us to think about. A lot of discrimination is happening right now. A lot of discrimination. And when I say discrimination, I mean discrimination more so against Black people. When you think about what's happened to Black women in employment, how their unemployment is through the roof. When you really go look at the Civil Rights Commission and the EEOC, and you realize that all our claims are being thrown out, and realize that there are people who are there who now know that we are getting away with stuff. There are companies and organizations who are now hiring all white people, who are firing Black people, who are going against the grain, who are breaking tradition or credentials, who are looking and saying, I don't have to follow that rule. I can discriminate against you. And right now, damn it, it's legal. Right now, people are looking and saying, daggone it, it is legal right now. I can literally get away with discrimination. Because if you go and you file a claim right now, I'm going to tell you right now, it's probably going to get thrown out. So now when you go and you're looking at this unemployment rate for Black people that is going through the freaking roof, understand that there is a system that is allowing it. So you give it 3 years, 4 years tops. And when we reverse back all this stuff that is taking place, I also believe it's going to be some big damage done to a lot of organizations and companies simply because there's a lot of stuff that's going on behind the scenes that looks Jim Crowish, that looks like it just looks blatantly racist. Blatantly racist. And I think just this, even when we get back to this temperature of Israel, or Israel and Iran rather, and we look at this and all this stuff that's being done, and these are gangster moves. This is like, man, I'm gonna take your stuff. I'm gonna take your stuff. And I know they talked about Obama giving the Ayatollah 1.7 billion and all this kind of stuff. I saw interviews where Joe Biden and Kamala Harris basically told everybody to stop. And then you got to Donald Trump and he's like, I'm gonna bomb the hell out of him. But remember the State of the Union. Remember that there were people who cheered, who should have said stop. Remember there were people who clapped, who should have been like, this is impeachment worthy. And I think that at some point we got to start looking at it and understand something. Understand something. This is what I want to say to the GOP, the MAGA, the racist, the bigot, whomever we want to say it to, here's what I want to say. If you spend your time prohibiting people from getting in the water at the beach, you're not getting in the water either, because you have to spend time making sure that they don't. Notice this. Think about when you punish your kids. The worst part of punishing your kids is you punish yourself. And I'm not calling us anybody's kids. But understand, when you punish someone, when you make the decision of doing some unfair treatment, that you have to be the police of it. Therefore, it causes you to not be able to enjoy it too. America is steadily sinking. And there's one key ingredient to the country sinking, and it's racism. It's not a country that's 90% Chinese or 90% Israeli or 90% Kuwaiti. It's a plethora of people. And in this country, if you don't make the decision of working together and elevating everyone, or at least giving everyone the opportunity to elevate, then everyone sinks collectively. This is the truth of racism that people don't understand. That if I don't work to at least provide the opportunity for everyone to get what it is that they're trying to get, yes, they're going to be lazy people. Yes, they're going to be poor people. Yes, they're going to be all kinds of people. Yes, they're going to be criminals, even if they had the opportunity. All these things would exist. But at the same time, the opportunity to be great should always be on the table. And America is failing at it because a group of people want to remain in a position to feel dominant, to feel superior. Notice I'm saying the word feel. I'm not saying real. These people are feeling this way, although they can get up every single day and realize that that's not real. It's not real at all. Because when it's all said and done, it's like, yeah. I'm going to tell y'all this and I'm going to keep it moving. Minority and majority are mindsets in theory. In reality, the vast majority of the world is brown. In reality, the majority is brown. The minority is not. The reason it is important to keep the word because it maintains the mindset. So therefore, I need you to call yourself minor, although you're major. I need you to live in that. Because if you live in that, so what does the Bible say? So a man thinketh, so is he. And if he continues to think that way, he should basically remain that way. So if I look and I'm like, this small group of people, majority is who's in the room to make the decision. It's not the reality at all. At all. So we just got to think differently. So let's think about the risks and scenarios of what is taking place right now in the Middle East. So there are 3 paths forward. 1, contain the tension. Diplomacy stabilizes the region. So we got to figure out how to diplomatically deal with this thing if we can. So we got to contain all the tension that's happening right now. And it's quite intense. It's quite intense. 2, we can prolong the tension with shipping delays. They can prolong the tension with shipping delays, higher oil prices, and sustained market volatility. Or 3, major disruption. Block the Strait of Hormuz. Then you'll have oil spikes, global recession risk, because 20% of the oil comes through the Strait of Hormuz. So it's either contained tension, prolonged tension, or major disruption. And from what I'm thinking, our president is probably on number 3, major disruption. But planes being down in Kuwait increased the likelihood of paths 2 and 3. So to the truth builders, you all, this is serious. And your household, our household finances are directly in play. So we got to think about this. And everybody who is new to the show, now that I'm changing the format, I'm calling all the audience. I don't call them fans. I call them truth builders because I believe that we're in this together. So we got a lot of stuff, man. We got merch and everything coming out. So be looking for all the Unmitigated Truth merch. It's going to be fun. So let's look a bit at the economic impact. So oil has surged. Brent crude jumped. U.S. crude rose 10%. And European gas prices spiked. Global stocks have fallen, while investors fled to gold and bonds. Energy drives inflation. Transportation, manufacturing, airlines, shipping, and food production. A missile launched or a downed plane overseas today can increase your gas prices tomorrow and delay the Fed rate cuts. Markets react to risk, not certainty. Hear that again. Markets react to risks, not certainty. So when we look at this, all this stuff that's taking place is impacting us on the bottom line. And when we think about this, just be real. We're in a time right now where gas is better. I'll say that. It's all right. But think about your grocery. I go to the grocery store now, and I'm an empty nester. I go to the grocery store now, man. It is rough. It is rough just to go to the grocery store. I don't see, listen, this is just kind of me getting off track, but I don't see how people hang out all the time. I'm like, with grocery, with the cost of driving, if you got to maintain your car, the cost of maintenance, the cost of clothes, a little fun costs a lot. Just like insurance and many other things. Brother Dwayne, when I tell you, I look at this thing now and I'm just like, man, even if you make six figures, a low six figures, listen, it's a rough life out here. It is a rough life out here. And when we look at it, a lot of stuff is really changing. The dollar does not go as far as it used to. And I'm just kind of like looking at this and I'm like, because the only people that when we look at this war situation, or whatever we want to call it, conflict, then you realize that the bottom line is a lot of people, the general public, is going to suffer the most. Intensely. The general public is truly going to suffer the most because when it's all said and done, if I'm rich, I'm like, man, it's just some money at that point. It's just some money at that point. So we just looked at the economic impact. So now let's look at the impact on the common American and the impact on the Black community. I always have to go there with us. I have to look at the impact on the common American and Black community. So rising gas, heating, grocery costs are already impacting American families, right? Small businesses face margin compression from higher logistics costs. I remember starting out my career in logistics long time ago. I remember back in the day, it used to be almost embarrassing to say that you worked in distribution or what they call warehousing work. Let me tell you something. It is probably one of the most lucrative businesses in the world. Why? Because you can't have anything. You can't get anything without it. A to B. Even in the underworld, A to B is the business. And when you realize that in order for me to have it, I gotta have distribution. And when you think about what it costs with gas prices and all these things, what it costs to get things from A to B, whether it be by plane, train, or automobile, what it costs for you to get that final good to your doorstep like we do so often, it's gonna cost more. It's going to cost more simply because it costs more to get it to you. This says time and time. Is that what it says? I think. I don't know. It says, I'm American. I couldn't figure out how to make the US work anymore, so I moved to Southeast Asia. Tell me more about that. And tell me more about what happened when you made the move. Is the move, do you think when you made the move, do you think this move is working better for you than when you were in America? And if so, why? Because I would love to hear that. Because here's the other part that I've heard so much of, and we'll do a show about it, is that more people are leaving America. More people are leaving America. More people are searching to leave America. More people are doing research on leaving America and finding simple living. When you realize, man, that we spend so much money on space that we never use, space we never use, and simple fun has gone out the door. Simple fun has gone out the door to the degree where now everybody's got to be something else. Even our entertainment, when we think about just American entertainment and the costs of entertainment, whether it be cable, whether it be your sports teams, whether it be music or streaming or however, all this stuff that we do so much, we realize, man, that we live a little different. And what people are finding, like my friend here, is that simple living, it's like you can do more. And then the other part is the longevity of it. And America is such a place where things are imported. So much is imported. So much of the essentials, when you think about fruits and vegetables and all these things that America does not produce, and you realize that this is going to cost more. You go in the grocery store, it'll tell you. It's like, if you want to, man, that's a good one right there. If you want to talk economics, the grocery aisles are talking. The grocery aisles are telling us everything that's going on in the world. Because if I look and I'm like, man, this is quite costly, especially when you get into the produce section. So if you get in the produce section, you will find out what's happening in the world. Typically, more people have left the United States in 2025 than have moved here. That's from my sister Jeanette Footman. I agree. And when I look at this, it's like a lot of people, listen, this is the other thing. This is another thing. A lot of people who came here seeking, quote unquote, the American dream, have found the American nightmare and went back because they realized that where they came from has better quality of life. It is something. This is, man, this is such an amazing time. Because people now, I always say this, I say that the people who leave the company are the biggest marketing voices, because they get to go out and they tell the truth. It's something to brag on a company while you're there, but it's a whole different thing when you leave it. So all of a sudden, these people are leaving the country and they're going back home and they're saying, not the place you thought it was. America is nothing like you thought it was, especially now that everybody who thought Black people were lying are now going back and understanding what racism looks like. This world, after this administration, will have one of the most educated groups of people as it relates to racism than it's ever had before. Hear me on that. This world will have a group of people who are more educated in racism than ever before. Because now they're going to go back home. They're going to say, I felt like a criminal. All I did was sought a good life. I have come to this country where they said it was the flowing with golden streets and milk and honey, and God lived in the White House, and the Black people were just lazy and didn't take advantage of all the goodies that was in the Willy Wonka factory. And now learning a hard lesson in racism. Sister from I left Germany 30 years ago. to marry my American husband. If he would have moved to Germany, we would have had a better, less stressful life than here. And I believe that. My father was stationed in Germany some time ago, God rest his soul, and he loved it. Everybody that I've heard that has been in Germany has had this love for it, and they were like it was a better way of living. You know, we talk about history. When James Baldwin, even during the Jim Crow days, when he went to Paris, he said, I had a far better life by staying in Paris. But when I saw the suffering, I came back to get involved to bring change. But I guarantee you, if James Baldwin were alive today, I believe he would move back to Paris or somewhere where he would be far more accepted. You know, it is something how we stay here, because we're not liked. And I got it twice, but that's another story. But it's crazy how we stay here and we continue to be unliked and mistreated. But I agree. I think that there's going to be a change, not necessarily a change. I think it will come down the road. But I do believe that more people are now learning what racism looks like in America, and they're going to be the voices for people who are here, who are staying in America. I believe there are going to be some big voices that are going to be more welcoming. Think on this. I think they're going to be far more welcoming to Black and brown people who decide to leave America simply because of their experience. I do believe that will happen. I don't know if I'll see it, but I do believe that it will happen. So historically, economic shocks hit Black communities disproportionately. Lower household wealth, greater reliance on service and sector jobs, and then less of a financial buffer. So when I look at these things and prices are going through the roof, and you realize that a Black household has 16 times less the wealth than a white does, and then you realize that our reliance on service, so the industries that we work in, we realize that a lot of our jobs are not high-paying jobs. Realize our unemployment is high. Okay, so when you realize we don't have the buffer, that money in the middle, a lot of Black people suffer through stuff like this. A lot of Black people will suffer because it's going to cost you more. Imagine it's costing you more to go to work. The gas is high. It's costing you more to go to work when you realize your energy bill. Think on this. Your energy bill is so crazy now that all of a sudden you're like, I don't even make this kind of money. And to keep the lights on and energy is just rising through the roof. It's like there's such a backwards narrative that's going on in this world right now that people are getting up every day, and just the energy of living in the house, the energy of driving from the house is costing us so much money that it's ridiculous. You just say if you put $100 worth of gas in your car every week, and then you got a $400 AES bill, that's $800 a month. Think on that. That's crazy money. And that's money after taxes. That's what you're left with. That's your net. That's not your gross money. That's your net money. So $800 of your net money every single month is going out the door simply because you're driving and simply living. And at some point, we got to look at everything, every aspect of all the things that the government is doing, including going to war. So let's look at this. U.S. politics and the Fed impact. So energy prices and foreign policy are political fuel. Executive authority, war powers, and election year messaging all come into play. Rising costs and foreign conflict affect public opinion. The Federal Reserve watches inflation carefully. Oil staying high delays rate cuts, which means higher mortgages, higher car loans, and higher credit card rates. So I'll say that again. Oil staying high delays rate cuts, which means higher mortgages, higher car loans, and higher credit card rates. And so many people right now, so many people, think about this. This is crazy, the world we're living in. There are so many people who are living off credit. There are so many people living off credit cards. Their debt to ratio, their debt to income ratio is through the roof. Sister Nicole said it's crazy. AES must be investigated. This is a joke. They're supposed to be getting investigated. But here's the problem, sister. What happens after the investigation? What happens when you realize that there are so many people in your politics who are on board with it? Here's what's crazy. And this is no knock to anyone. This is just the truth. This is the unmitigated truth. Can I come into the house? When you realize that the sister that got an award, there was a sister that just got an award who's the president of AES. I think she got the Harriet Tubman or Rosa Parks Award, one of them. And when I look at this, I'm like, people are suffering. And we're congratulating people who know that people are suffering. So at some point, we must do a better job of, before we congratulate and elevate, we must hold people accountable. And then if we hold them accountable, we can look and say, all right, brother, this is worthy of award because you're doing right by the people. Agreed. A $2,000 bill is a scam. A $2,000 bill is a scam. They are robbing people. She said $2,000 bill is a scam, Sister Nicole. They are robbing people. Nothing about a bill like that is normal. How about this, Nicole? How about the household that had nobody living in it, a vacant home, and that family received a $700+ AES bill? It seems crazy that it can still go on. But now that we look at, and we've got this thing with Iran, this thing could get out of hand. Totally out of hand. And I just, from local politics all the way to executive level, I want people to do their job. Your job is not to be autonomous. Your job is to do what's best and what's asked of the people, of and from the people. The problem with us in the Black community is we don't ask for nothing because we don't watch stuff like this. We don't typically watch people doing this. We don't typically watch shows where people are having these conversations. And I'll be honest, most of these shows don't exist because they just don't. The typical world news is not going to have this conversation with you to say, this is how it's going to impact you. It's going to say we're at war and the Ayatollah is dead and some planes were shot down and a building was crushed and this is what's happening over here and the Kuwaitis are doing this and the Israelis are doing that. But we're having a real conversation. Because here's what I want you all to do or understand. That if you are having to deal with rising costs, then that means over here, you have to cut something. This is what budgeting is. So if you're dealing with rising energy costs, and until that changes and energy starts coming down, then that means you need to cut some things that you possibly don't need to do, just things that may be deemed excess. You may have to change those until things are better, right? So wow, so my brother Dwayne, he's down in Texas. There are people here in Texas have an air conditioner unit for upstairs and one for downstairs, and hot summers are not paying that much. Listen, brother, you got it good. My brother Dwayne, he's down in Texas, y'all, and he's like, man, we all right on that. We ain't tripping on that at all. At all. And I get it. But AES right now is robbing the hell out of Indiana and Indianapolis. Yeah. Power concedes nothing without demand. I agree. Desmond Alvey says that. I agree. But here's the thing. Here's the thing, Desmond. Who is demanding? Who are the people out here demanding? You know, we this is why it's been so important for us to hold our elected officials accountable, because the demand goes to them. Then they take what we're demanding and they go to them, or they create legislation that impacts it because we said so. But what's happening is the profits, people are making a killing. And then that money is dispersed among certain people. And the people who are losing are paying the most. So at some point, we got to start being demanding. Can't just cry about it. We got to start being demanding. So history shows that global crises reshape domestic politics. Americans need to understand the connection between geopolitics and their wallets. Understand this. All this stuff that's going on, all this stuff going on all around the world, it impacts our pockets. It truly does. Some people gonna get super rich, and the poor might go through just fall through the cracks. You know, it gives me new knowledge. It gives me new knowledge of how they used to have the draft. And back then, when they had the draft, I think about just how so many Black people were sent into war based on the USA draft. It's funny how it's okay. We're not hiring, but we could go to fight, and then you go fight for rights that you never receive, which is a whole nother story. But you're the first person they want fighting for them. Okay, and when I think about just how the poor are expendable during war, it tells me something. It's like war is a rich person's game. The poor are expendable in war. The poor will lose in war. And typically, it's like, even if you go to other countries that are being destroyed, it's like the poor people ain't got nothing to, just think about it. The poor people ain't got nothing to do with an airplane flying over their house, dropping bombs. They like, man, I'm over here being poor trying to live. And all of a sudden, you telling me I got to run down my street because this big, gigantic airplane is mad at somebody down there that's rich in this office or in this palace? Same happening here. The poor are expendable all over the world when rich people get into it. It's a sad reality, but it's the truth. Yeah, the front line, definitely, Philip. The front lines is where you're going. The front line is where you're going. And so I want to just say this, man. So here's what I'm doing, y'all. I want to bring this to the table really quickly. So I am working my way up. I was thinking that, I was going to be able to incorporate my radio show into this show, and then, during the commercials we'll still be filming it, but we don't have that set up all the way yet. So when that gets set up, then I'll do my long shows. But for now, we're gonna stick to, we'll do an hour, maybe a little over an hour, but we'll just keep it what it is until it can get better. So I just wanted to put that out there because the flyer said we was gonna do, first we're gonna do 3 hours, and we're gonna do 2 hours. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna do what we can do until we can do it better. As long as y'all stick with me, I already know everything's gonna be all right. Are we good on that? Thank you very much. Okay. So I just want us to look at this and just realize that power is hurting. Power is hurting the small people. And I want y'all to do this. He said, and Cuba is next, full of poor and color. Yeah, listen, I thought the same thing. I think Cuba is on the radar. And it's unfortunate that Cuba is on the radar because, I feel like there's so many of these small pockets of people who are black and brown, who are defenseless as it relates to fighting against this country. And it's crazy that we can't talk about another country that's involved in this with America, because I don't want to be deemed anti-Semitic, but it's unfortunate that we get to see all this type of stuff that goes on with them, and it just baffles me how that's supposed to be the yeah the good people, and just the damage that's being done all around the world that includes them, and that's a challenge for me. And so, I'll say this again. We're going to continue moving forward. I know we're going through this thing. I know that costs are going to get high. And like I said, as costs get high, I want us to figure out how to better budget our money so that we can be prepared for whatever it is that's coming. And as for AES, here's what I'm asking you all to do. Get out here and fight it. Get out here and fight it. When I put that message out, I can't think of the guy I was sent the information about the brother who had the situation with AES. I took his post and I wrote my own thing about, and I included his post on what I wrote. In my post, I included that the young lady from AES, who is the president of AES, was getting an award from a local newspaper in Indianapolis. When I wrote it, I was more upset because it was about the bill, and then congratulating the person who I believed could play a bigger role in changing that, so that poor people or just the general public would be getting what is fair and not some increase or rate hike. And that then I shared it with all the radio or all the TV stations or all the news stations, and then copied the Black Indie Live. And for me, I honestly wish that I wish that I could have been at the table to speak to AES based on what I'm seeing now. Because I believe that there would have been a different level of accountability had I been sitting at the table. I am not one for grandstanding. I have a career that basically says I'm qualified to sit across from anybody at any given time, being that I've ran operations. And when I think about just what happened after that meeting, I'm like, at some point, if you took the meeting, then you're also responsible for what took place after the meeting. So if rates have gotten worse after you all took the meeting, then my question is, why have you not said anything? What was said while you were at the table? And if something was said, what? But why is there no change? And are you still in the fight? Because if you have the ear, if you have someone's ear inside of AES, and you can pick the phone up and make a phone call directly to their corporate leadership, then I think that you should take the responsibility to make the call public, and then fight like hell with them until something changes. That's what I'm expecting from anybody who said they sat with AES. Anybody. Not just a couple people, but anybody, any government official, any elected official, anybody, any activist, anybody who has said, you know what, I've been in touch with AES and this, whatever. If nothing came out of it, then again, let's do this in the community. I'm not talking just the Black community. I'm talking about the community. Let's get the right people in the room. Let's get the right people in the room fighting the good fight, so that there can be some relief on what I believe is corruption. That's all I got on that one. So we're going to move forward, man. We got about 10 minutes or so left. I want to talk about this on a lighter note, because I thought it was, I don't know, I guess it was on a lighter note. But I was excited to see this because it was a night for the Michaels. Yesterday was a day for the Michaels. Actually, it was a day for the Michael Jordans of the world. So this is something that I was really thrilled to see. So I'm going to share this because I thought it was a great moment in history.
You are shining herald of Michael B. Jordan. Oh, man. I don't even know where to begin. I wasn't expecting this at all, and I just want to quickly say that I'm so honored and privileged to be nominated in categories with people and actors and humans that I love, and I love their work and what you contribute to our craft. And this ride has been unbelievable. So thank you for welcoming me in and making me feel seen, bro. And y'all know how I feel about y'all. I remember, I want to thank SAG-AFTRA. I remember as a kid in this industry, and you had to earn your vouchers to become a member of SAG. And I remember, I thought it was this, this club that I wanted to be in so bad, but you had to get, vouchers, and depending on how many lines you had in an episode or a show would determine, if you got that membership card or not. And I remember watching all the other actors that I looked up to being a part of that club, being a part of SAG-AFTRA, being a part of this community. And I was like, man, I want to be that one day. So when I remember when I got my SAG-AFTRA card, I was like, man, I'm like an entry level member. And those guys that were on stage with the awards and the nice suits, talking, being in fancy places like that, that's what I always wanted. And that kid from Newark, New Jersey is standing here right now.
So when I look at this, man, I'm thrilled, and it's not a matter of being accepted in that world. I think it's just a matter of acknowledging. To me, it's more about acknowledging good work. And so, Truth Builders, I want to call this a cultural moment because even when politics and markets dominate, storytelling and representation shape how we see the world. It's like last night, the 32nd Actors Award or Actor Awards highlighted films and performance that are reshaping Hollywood. The breakout was Sinners. For all of you who have seen Sinners, directed by Ryan Coogler. I'll be honest, I watched Sinners once. I wasn't thrilled. I'm not a person that gets into, what are those things called? Vampires or whatever it is. I don't get into people chewing on people. But anyway, Sinners, it won outstanding performance by a cast in the motion picture, and Michael B. Jordan took home Best Lead Male Actor for his dual role performance. The ensemble includes Delroy Lindo and Wunmi Mosaku, reflecting strong collaborative storytelling. Other notable winners were Jessie Buckley, Best Lead Female Actor, Sean Penn, Best Supporting Male Actor, and Amy Madigan, Best Supporting Female Actor. On the TV side, The Pit won Best Drama Ensemble, and The Studio took Best Comedy Ensemble, with Catherine O'Hara receiving a posthumous tribute. And so for decades, awards have under-recognized non-white actors. Movements like #OscarsSoWhite highlighted systemic gaps. Sinners' win shows a shift. Black storytelling is being recognized on major stages. These victories mean increased visibility, expanded narratives, more resources flowing to diverse storytellers, and audience affirmation that Black stories matter. And so I was just thrilled to see that story. because I think that when it's all said and done, everybody's not, it's not always about politics. It's not always about policy, even though, I have a strong part in that as well. But I want us to also look and see that there are also times where we must celebrate the fact that some of our good work may be getting recognized. The other story that I really want to chime in on is another Michael that has definitely done his share of accomplishing some great stuff, and I'm just thrilled to see him in a space. Even though I could criticize him, but I'm thrilled to see him in a space where again he's thriving by doing what he does. And that other Michael,
Tyler did a good
Michael
job.
Jordan.
He beat some good competition. I mean, when you see SVG coming back there, you get a little nervous, but I think he had him covered pretty much the whole day.
Michael, the records, the wins, the trophies, what does this all mean to you as a team owner here in this sport?
Well, I'm proud of the team that we put together. I mean, Denny, I'm pretty sure it's the same way. He feels the same way as I do. And I think a lot of credit goes to him because I think he's the mastermind behind finding Tyler and putting together, Billy Scott and all that. Look, I just put up the money. I'm just a competitor. But I think Denny's done an unbelievable job in terms of helping build this team. And I think the team has done a good job in just taking our leadership and going out and winning. That's what it's about, winning.
So I look at this man as a huge fan of Michael Jeffrey Jordan. It is awesome to see Michael doing his thing. So when I think about it, Black excellence and history, the end of Black History Month, Michael Jordan being at the racetrack and NASCAR, which at one point was probably deemed one of the most racist sports you can ever find, but while the world watches geopolitical and economic tensions, Michael Jordan is making history on the track. His team, the 2311, is it that it or 23? Yeah, racing has won, or 23-6, sorry, 23-6 has won. Oh, that's 11. 2311 has won the first 3 NASCAR Cup Series races of 2026, an unprecedented feat. So 3 in a row his team has won, which includes the Daytona 500. Driver Tyler Reddick captured victories at Daytona, Atlanta, and Circuit of the Americas. Teammate Bubba Wallace cites second in standings. Jordan leadership and co-ownership with Denny Hamlin show that excellence transcends sports from basketball to motorsports. This is more than a sports story. It's about representation, legacy, and breaking barriers in historically exclusive sports. So I just want to send a shout out to both the Michaels, Michael Jordan, Michael B. Jordan, Michael J. Jordan, and Michael B. Jordan for having stellar days yesterday. And so I'm looking forward to seeing more from both of them. So let's just say this, man. To all the truth builders, today, we covered crisis abroad, economic impacts at home, the Black community culture, and history-making wins on screen and on the track. America is at a breaking point. Not collapse, but a call to action. Awareness, preparation, civic engagement, and financial discipline are the tools you need. When the world moves, America feels it. And when you understand it, you have power. Thank you for joining the Unmitigated Truth. I want you to stay informed, stay prepared, and most of all, stay powerful. It's been your brother. I look forward to doing this again tomorrow. Make sure you tune in. We're going to come back again at 12 o'clock. Have some more time. It's been the Unmitigated Truth. Y'all have a great one. Peace.